Hey guys, I get asked a lot what my favorite device is, so here it is today. It's the Fire TV second generation box. I have this with game controllers and an add-on remote accessory. I'll show you all that. So first thing, here's the box that it comes in. Now you can still find these on Amazon sometimes when they get refurbished models, but mostly you'll have to buy these on eBay. They don't make these anymore. These were made in 2015. And unfortunately, they just don't make them new anymore. So you'll have to buy refurbished or you can buy used from eBay. This is 4K, Dolby Audio. It's just like your Fire Stick, but it's a box format. So I'll show the back of the box there a little bit. And these are great for retro gaming, as I'll show you. See here at the bottom, great for gaming. So if you can find one of those used, also look for these Fire TV game controllers. These work really well with these devices. They only work on the boxes and the second gen sticks, so if you can find these, pick them up. These originally sold for $50. They have R2 shoulder buttons, L2, R2, R1, L1. Has a headphone jack at the bottom. You can plug headphones into that, listen to your apps, your TV. It mutes your TV when you plug headphones in. It takes two AA batteries. I have a sticker on mine to let me know which one's player one. But yeah, there's the Amazon Fire TV game controller. If you can find one with that, it's an even better deal. Now here's the box itself. It's not very big. I'll show you each side. There's a little light on the front when it's plugged in right here in the corner. There's nothing on the sides. Here's the bottom. This is the model number if you want to look for that. This is the second gen box. Now they did make a first gen, so it's a little bit different. It doesn't have the micro SD card slot that you can see there in the picture. You have power, HDMI, Ethernet, a full-size USB port. I have a 128 gigabyte USB drive in there for games. There's the USB port. Here's the micro SD card slot. I store all my cartridge-based games on this. That's a 32 gigabyte SanDisk Ultra micro SD card. So I'll put that back in there. There's Ethernet, HDMI, and power. Now this does not come with an HDMI cable in the box, if you can find one in the box. Here's the remote. I'll show you the add-on I use here in a moment, because this is the old style remote before it had volume buttons and power and everything for your TV. So they do make adapters for these remotes. This is the one I have. There's also one called the side click that goes on the side. But this one makes the remote pretty thick, as you can see here. But it feels good in the hand, and you get used to the buttons on the bottom. Like eventually you'll be able to control those with your index finger once you get used to it. Now this is just optional, but I use this. The regular remote snaps into it. It takes two more AAA batteries there. Now you take the back off the regular remote and just slide it into that attachment, and that gives you extra controls for your TV. You can find those on eBay or Amazon. Just look up side click or universal remote attachment. Of course, it comes with the power cable. Here's the power adapter. That's a 15-volt adapter that plugs into the wall. And that little end plugs into the box. So yeah, you get everything with it except the game controller. Sometimes you can find those with them. But yeah, look for these used. Now let's look at what I've got on it. Here's the box connected to the television. I'll show you how many apps I have on here and each one, go through my entire setup with you just to show you what I run. I'm not trying to sway anybody, I'm just showing you what my favorite device is and how I use it. So I have 40 apps on here and I still have almost 2 gigabytes free in the memory with the SD card. The SD card helps take some of the load off the apps from the internal storage. So I'm just showing each app here. Most of these I get from my FileLink store, but a couple of these like Pluto, Downloader, and FileLink, I get those elsewhere. Now Pluto I get from the App Store, so I get Downloader also from the App Store. Then FileLink, I'll get that with Downloader. Here's some of the game apps. You can always put more on here. These are just the ones that I use the most. I'll come back and show each one of those. And there's Advanced Download Manager. And then these are the apps that come pre-installed. I don't really use those. And then these apps near the bottom here, I don't use very often, but they serve their purposes. So let's go back up. I'll show you what I've got here. I'll show you my Kodi build. This is a modified digs build of Sarin Track. Unfortunately, I don't think they have it anymore in their builds menu, but you can still find this. I have this modified version in FileLink. So this is my daily driver. This is my favorite app. I use it more than anything else. That's how I watch movies and TV shows most of the time. And of course, cinema. Everybody knows cinema, right? We have that on there just as a backup. We have Nova TV, Cat Mouse, Unlock My TTV, Tubi, that's the ad-free version from FileLink. Pluto TV, that's from the App Store. Spotify TV, that's from FileLink because that's ad-free, lets you skip. Here's Anime DLR. I use the modded version because it works better on Fire TV. And then of course Downloader, we get that from the App Store. So I'll use that to get FileLink. And I have Total Commander, that's a file browser, that's from FileLink as well. There are newer versions. Here's ES File Explorer, that's from FileLink. There's Analyty, that's from FileLink as well. The newer versions have more ads in them. Here's Puffin TV, that's a browser for your Fire TV device. I have NES Emu, this plays original NES Nintendo games. So I'll show you that. And I'll show you a few of the game emulators here. I have tons of games in FileLink, guys. If you want all these games like I have here, you don't have to do this on Fire TV either. You can do this on any Android device. I'll just run this game for a moment. So we'll exit that. And then there's SNES 9X, that's for Super Nintendo games. So I'll just load a game here. And again, guys, there's tons of games in FileLink. We'll exit that. We'll go to Game Boy and Game Boy Color. That's GBC Emu. So I'll exit that. Here's Game Boy Advance, GBA Emu. So I'll exit that. I just want to show you guys some of these games and how they work. Here's another Game Boy Advance game, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. So you can play tons of games on here. Here's Mupen 64. This is the Nintendo 64 emulator. Again, all these games are in file linked, or there's a link at the top of the group in announcements. If you want to play these on PC or another device. There's almost 300 games, I believe, for this system. I'm running all these off the USB drive. Like my game saves and all that will go to the internal storage. They don't take up a whole lot of room. So I'll just play Conker's Bad Fur Day. This is a harder game to emulate on some devices, but it runs pretty well on this box. Now this box is only 32-bit, so it won't run GameCube games with Dolphin. That's the only drawback versus the Shield. But for the price, this one's great. You can find these for around $70 used most of the time, sometimes cheaper. I saw a guy that got one for $30 with a game controller yesterday. He got lucky on Facebook Marketplace. So always check around eBay, Marketplace, places like Mercari, or maybe even OfferUp. There's MD Emu, that's for the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive. I'll just load a game there real quick. And with that USB drive and the SD card, you can load so many games on here. So this thing's almost the perfect emulation device. The controllers aren't Bluetooth, so they don't have very much lag at all. They use Wi-Fi direct. So it's almost like playing on an original system. Here's EPSXE for PlayStation 1. Now these are on the USB drive, as these files are pretty large. But you can fit a ton of disc-based games on that USB drive. So I just want to show that it does run all these games pretty well. We'll quit that, and then I'll show you PPSSPP. This is for PSP games. I've only got one on here right now. That's on my USB drive again. But even this game runs pretty well on this box. So I'll show that for a moment.
In the great struggle of good versus evil, there is often more to a hero than meets the eye. Just as the plants have their hidden roots, and rocks, when turned over, reveal their dark underbelly with all manner of surprises, so too is the great story of Jack and his epic fight to save Haven City.
Your first job?
Gangster, I almost forgot to tell you about the communication device. I'll use this to keep in touch with you whenever you're away from the shop. Now, you're good to go, my boy.
If there's one thing I've learned, you can never have too many of these precursors.
So there's PSP, guys. I'll exit out of that. Now, this box can also do up to Dreamcast with a recast emulator. I just don't have that installed right now. Here's Advanced Download Manager. And again, these apps at the bottom I hardly use, but they do serve a purpose. So yeah, again, 40 apps, guys. That's more than most people would need, I think. And we'll go to settings, and I'll show you. There's 1.86 gigabytes free storage. Remember, I have a Kodi build on here and everything. So the only thing that has more storage really is the new cube, the Fire TV cube. But this is just like a Fire Stick except with full-size USB ports and SD card slot, and it works with the game controllers. So again, this is my all-time favorite device. I just love it. I keep coming back to it every time. So I hope that helps you guys. As always, happy gaming and happy streaming.